Piedmont Natural Gas, and we are located at 2611 Green Gate Drive. Most of you know that. You had to put it in to get here. The phone number here is 336-271-5010. In event of an emergency, I will call 911. If we do have an emergency, I'll meet them out at the gate and those types of situations. If we have to evacuate for any reason, we have several means to get out of here. And the main way will be go out this door, down the stairwell. As soon as you get to the bottom, open up the door to the hallway, you take a right, and then you go out across the little parking lot. There's a little sign out there where we muster it for any kind of emergency type situation. If that's in the event of a fire. We do have another set of stairs on the other side over here. You go down the hallway, you come around the corner, you go all the way down, you know the stairwell is an elevator, but in case of fire, we don't use the elevator. And we also have, if you run out these doors right here, we have a set of stairs going down into our storeroom, which will be another reason getting out of here if we have any kind of situations. That room right there goes straight to a dead end office, so don't run in there. If we do have any kind of storm, severe weather, anything of that nature, we're going to go out down these stairs, get down to the bottom. Instead of going right, we'll go left. There's a hallway down there, the center point of the building, safest place to be in the event of a storm, but at least we think it is. Depends on where the tornado throws a tractor trailer, right? All right, so that being said, AED, Parrish will run and get that for us because he's a nice guy. And so you go out this door right here, take a left through the first little doorway. On your right is the AED. I'll do CPR if we have to. Parrish, you can back me up. I'm gonna pretty much do it all. Hopefully it ain't me that goes down, right? So Moses Cone Hospital is the closest hospital here. Most of you know where Moses Cone is. Hopefully by now, that's most likely where not the ambulance is going to take you anyway, is Moses Cone. So does anybody have a safety share? It'd be easy on us if you start getting CPR. I am notorious for breaking ribs. I'm just going to tell you now. I have never done it where I did not break ribs. So it is my notorious thing.
He's for real. He's on the EMS. He hadn't saved anybody, but he's broken some ribs.
I have never bought anybody back. Just going to let you know that now. So that's just the way it goes, right? I guess my safety share will be, it is fall of the year, leaves are falling, rain's falling. It makes it slick, so make sure you keep your porches and your decks and everything else clear of the leaves because nobody wants to fall and spend the holidays. But you get time off, right?
Yeah, pay time off.
But yeah, make sure we get our leaves and stuff up out of the way. That way we don't. Boom. So I'm gonna turn it over to
the deer are moving as well. On my way to Raleigh, I stay on 40, man. There's dead deer everywhere. And my supervisor hit a deer Monday afternoon. It wasn't even evening yet on the way home, probably about 4:30 or so. So just be aware that you're gonna have to drive defensively around those jokers. They're chasing the doe.
Okay.
Nope.
Thanks, Scott.
Yes, sir.
All right, Parrish, will you do your presentation first?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and minimize this since nobody is online. And then back this up. I'm sorry.
You want everybody to introduce themselves?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's probably a great idea.
I'm Scott Overcash. I work for Piedmont Natural Gas. I cover Forsyth, Guilford, Randolph, Rockingham, Alamance, and 2 other counties, Davie and something else. I can't keep up with it. Salisbury, Rowan County. There you go. I know there was another one. We just received that one. So I do new construction work. I'm over the project managers for this area, for the entire area. I've been here for almost 28 years. So that is who I am.
Dylan Kirk with USIC. I supervise the Greensboro area and chair this meeting.
Matt Larson with Lumen Technologies, fiber optic company.
And he's the secretary for this UCC.
Seth Casey, work for Duke. I'm a distribution resource specialist out of the Guilford Oct. Kind of manage all the work and assign crew. I'm John Ryan, Duke Energy Supervisor, Greensboro, Fairfax. And pretty much look after the crews that he's assigning work to.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Good.
Good catch, Scott. Thank you. So welcome to the UCC for October, Guilford County. Let me ask you, before we get started, are you either one of you gentlemen receiving the invites through Constant Contact?
We just started.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure you get added to the list then.
Yes.
I'll put a little asterisk beside your name, so I'll remember to do that. October is Tackling Hunger Month, so if you do any social media, Paris does not, but if you are so inclined, if you do anything, take pictures, upload it to social media. If you would use the hashtag Tackling Hunger Month, it just kind of spreads the word. But some of the things you can do to observe it is bulk drive, food, right? Grab it, buy it, take it to the food pantry so they can distribute it. So they're looking for things that have a long shelf life. Your canned goods, says peanut butter, dry beans, brown rice, olive oil, nuts, that type of stuff, because Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming up. There are folks out there who are less fortunate than us, especially with inflation, food costs, fuel, everything's rising, right? If you don't want to do that, you can donate money. And I've talked to folks and said, probably a good idea to donate money if you want to do that. Make sure they're on the up and up. And then a lot of times they're tax deductible, but they may have a deal with some of the local grocery stores where their dollar goes a little bit further than somebody who they don't know. You can do that, or you can support them by actually going and volunteering. I know Piedmont Natural Gas in the past has went to the food bank in Winston and in Greensboro, and actually there's a list. You put your food in the box and you take it to the front, and then somebody up there distributes it to the families who are coming by. So if you are thinking about doing that, we appreciate it. Halloween safety tips. I'm going to leave it up for a second and you can read all of these, but the last one is the most important. Use common sense in anything you do when it comes to trick-or-treating and or just daily living. Here is Mr. Louis Panzer. He is our executive director. He wants you to know that the volume across the state of North Carolina is continuing to climb. So when you're dealing with it, remember the 3 C's: stay calm, be continuous, and communicate. And there's a little bit more on communicate on the next slide. There are sending letters, and when I say they, I'm talking about the LRPC. Mr. Panzer's signature is on the bottom of it, and they want to know of why they are out there when they're supposed to be professional excavators excavating without calling 811 first, which is North Carolina law. So they're into the process of finding out why. The CGA had their national convention on the 18th of this month down in San Antonio, Texas. So prior to that, they were supposed to release their dirt report, the 2022 dirt report. I'm not sure if that took place or not, but it was supposed to be released. And then looking forward, the gentleman rode with me yesterday, Tyler. He's our new liaison. He's taking over the western counties. He lives around the Asheville area. So we're looking forward to getting him up to speed and letting him take off and run his meetings in the western part of North Carolina. And last but not least, fall's on the way. Even though it's cooler outside, it's not in this room. And yeah, so it's just hot in here. So have fun and stay safe. Extraordinary circumstances. Not sure if you know about this or not, but some folks, when the remnants of the Hurricane Ian came through, some folks did declare extraordinary circumstances. Did anybody in this room do that? Okay. So if you want to know if you're doing RTE or you're calling tickets in, they're going to tell you somebody's declared an extraordinary circumstance, right? So if you want to say, well, when do they start doing that and when are they going to finish? If you go to the NC 811 webpage, and then at the top up here, it'll say resources. You click on member services, and it's going to bring up right here in the middle. If you hit that member services, it'll bring up multiple tabs, and one of the tabs will be extraordinary circumstances. If you click on that, it'll open up a spreadsheet and it'll let you know who's declared it, even if you want to see it in the past. Some declared it last year. 2 entities declared it this year, when they declared it and when it's going to stop, or when they foresee it's going to stop. The manager for the member services actually keeps that up and populates that information in there. Miss Leslie Brouillard. So circling back to communication, please confirm if you're having tickets called in, you're calling tickets, or you know somebody who's in the excavation community that's calling tickets in, make sure the name they put on that request is not Jill and she sits in the office, because somebody in the field is going to call Jill in the office and say, I got a question about this job. I don't know anything about it. Well, your name's on request. Look, I just do what they tell me to. But the crew leader, the lead foreman, supervisor, whatever you want to call them, if somebody is out in the field, boots on the ground, make sure their name and their contact information is on there in case any questions arise and can be answered in a timely manner. Taking a look at the numbers. So again, as Lewis alluded to, 7.8%, and that's last month versus September of last year. You can see that there's a slight increase in the locate request. Move to the right, 6.8 for the year. If anybody has a burning desire to know the numbers for real, I've got them on here. Kind of people gloss over when you start talking about numbers, so we're just telling you basically how much it has increased. Transmissions last month, a 3.4% increase over September of 2021, and then year to date, a 3% increase. So looking at Guilford, you can see the 3 hour actually decreased 21.5%. So what does that mean, Ferris? Well, when you made your request to locate, the locators in the community were able to fulfill that request within the 3 working days. So the 3 hour, hey, I need to, after I check my pause response, I need to spool up for that one entity that did not popularly respond properly. I need to spool up and do a 3 hour. It went down, so which is the good news. The tickets volume last month actually went down to 3.5, and the ticket update went down 10.3, which is, I mean, great all across the board. Locates per day averaging 430 in Guilford County. So year to date, the 3 hour, even though it was down last month, it's actually up for the year, 47.4. The new tickets is up for the year, 5.6. And ticket update 6.1. So I guess last month was an anomaly. Everything was minimum, and you go to year to date and everything's in the plus column. Average locates per day, 481 year to date for Guilford County. All right, out of the 9,894 tickets that were called in, you can see Greensboro topped the list as always at 6,270. High Point made the list, and everybody else is triple digits or below. So out of the damages that reported to 811 last month, Guilford had 54. State UCC meeting is going to be next month, November the 8th. That's going to be at Dominion Energy in Asheville. If you would like to go, that does start at 10 a.m. The Underground Damage Prevention Review Board has already met, and the NC 811 board has already met. So I'm not going to bore you with those dates, but the LRPC is going to meet next month, November the 16th. That will take place at the 811 Event Center. Has anybody been there? Scott, you been there?
Yeah. Well, the sound.
You guys been there? It's right down the road. It's a nice facility. If you're a member of 811, you can actually request that facility for use as long as you're not monetarily gaining from that, right? So if you guys want to have meetings over there, whatever, reach out to Virginia. She sits in the office there, and she can schedule that for you. So it is available. Hey, we're going to be at the football game tomorrow night, NC State. If you are a fan and you're going to be there, stop by, see us. We're going to have some giveaways, and the little mini excavator is going to be there. I think most of you've seen the mini excavator?
I've seen them.
Have you seen it in person? Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty good. It's a educational tool for the kids as well as adults who sit in the office, never had a chance to actually operate the digging equipment. You pick up the balls in a pit and dump them in a bucket. There's a 2-minute time limit on it, so we can make sure we get as many folks as we can through that. I'm going to go tomorrow and top that thing off and then fill up our 5-gallon jug because I have a feeling we're going to burn through a lot of gas. If you want to, again, if you're a part of the Facebook fans, you can go. We got Safe Digging Sports. It's on Facebook. You can like us, friend us, whatever that stuff is. And you can check out some podcasts by Miss Ann Rushing as well. And I think there's some prior ones on there from Brian Morehouse where he talked to some racing folks. Election day is coming up. So number one, we want you to vote next month. Make your voices heard. Or if you're early voting, you can vote this month. We also want you, if you're around any of the polling stations and you see somebody who's excavating, make sure that they've got a valid 811 ticket. We don't want the power to go down around those stations or the communication, right? Because when people's votes aren't being counted, there's going to be an issue. How can you find out without making contact with those individuals if they have a valid ticket?
The app,
What's it called?
NC811.
All right. And how do I go once I get on there?
App, and then you search where you're standing to see if there's any tickets in there.
You go to apps and tools, go down to near ticket, and you can pull up any ticket. It uses your phone's or your laptop's GPS signal. And it'll go from 100 to 1,000 feet. Anywhere within that GPS signal, you can see who's got tickets called in, right? And if it's valid. See somebody who doesn't. If you get close enough to them, do 100 feet. If they don't have a ticket, run over here and shut them down. Say, you can't be digging around here. It's a polling station, you don't want to knock it out.
I never thought about it. You share it with angry homeowners that don't
You
know.
can. So we get calls all the time. There's paint in my yard. What are you doing, man? We don't excavate, and we just let the utilities know to mark their facilities. We don't locate either. But if you go to your 811 website, apps and tools, they can use their CPU, desktop computer, or laptop and do the same thing. And they'll find out who called it in and what's getting ready to go on in their neighborhood. You can ask. Thank you, Duke Energy, for being here. It's been a hot minute since seeing you guys, but appreciate you being here. And we're trying to grow the Duke Energy footprint in the UCCs throughout the state of North Carolina. So again, thank you. But invite somebody, a co-worker, Scott, or some of the folks who actually put your gas line in the ground or locate your gas lines. Probably a good idea to have them here as well, so they can voice their opinion and put out what projects are going on. As always, you can go to the NCUCC calendar events. You can actually populate your information if you would like to get an invite to any of the UCCs, right? You go up to the top, you click on County UCCs, and then there's going to open up a little window right here. You click on that and it opens up how many counties are in North Carolina? Does everybody know? Close. 100. 100. So all 100 counties are listed there. You click on that county and it'll bring up that website. You scroll to the bottom. You can actually see the past meeting minutes, sign in rosters for good contact information, or you can actually populate your information or anybody else's you would like to have those folks attend these UCCs. And then when we send the invites out, they'll be on that mailing list. There's a good looking NCA1 education team led by Miss Ann Rushing, as always. Mr. Tyler Ross will be up here next month, so we'll be shining his pretty face on these presentations. Again, a copy of this presentation, along with a sign-in, will be uploaded to the NCUCC for your viewing pleasure. You can grab that URL and send it to anybody. Hey, here's what we talk about at the Guilford County UCC. Barring any questions and/or comments, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Do you have any notes from last time?
Not all business.
Okay. I remember, I think I was gonna reach out to, there's supposed to be some, I forget what they're called now, four states,
Loomis?
Lumen, yes. They were supposed to start a bunch of work in the area. I haven't noticed it starting. I was gonna reach out to their main excavator, but I have not done that yet. I wanted to get them to this meeting.
Your
But-
counterpart Jeremiah said that they were doing. No, it might not have been. It might have been Joshua with Heath. Said they were doing a lot in the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area.
Okay,
Greensboro area, and GAC is the contractors. But yeah,
so maybe they're starting in Winston and they haven't made it out here yet, but I'll work on that when we come back in January. If they're starting to do a lot of work in Guilford, I'll try and bring them into this meeting along with, any other subcontractors. Oh yeah, we can pull that into new business too. Other than that, I don't have any new business. Anything on your end, Matt?
I have a question for Piedmont. We're getting a bunch of tickets, in Greensboro and down in Charlotte for a company called Survey and Mapping LLC. It says they're doing, repairing gas services. Are you familiar with that? Because we've
Oh,
never.
yeah, Sam. You said the wrong acronym. So, yeah, so what that,
Sam, they got it as Survey and Mapping.
yeah, so that's a group that we have that works for us. It's a private contractor, but they come in, if we have unlocatables, they come in, dig it up, find out what's wrong, repair tracer wires, bring up new wires or bond wires so we can locate our gas lines. So
Gotcha.
anytime he sends us an unlocatable, we send it the same. But that's what's saying.
Gotcha.
Just remember, we're being recorded.
Yeah, just take off. Hey, this behind the curve and it's all there. Usually by the time when he get called, they're gone. That way, I'm sure y'all already aware of it. Okay, well, we're getting ready to go out there now and start moving back and doing some growing and stuff. Publix. We're almost done with Publix. We're having a hell of a time getting under that creek, but once we get under it, we'll be done. So it's some hard rock out there. I think they were moving 4 foot a day.
All the duck bank out there.
Yeah. We got 1 feed going to them. It's enough to keep them running, but we got to get the second feed in there to them, or we ain't gonna be able to sustain what they got going on. Other than that, other than residential neighborhoods going in, I know y'all are having problems on your construction side with, getting, what am I trying to think of there?
I'm sorry, system infrastructure. Oh, anode bed, rectifier. Oh. We have to get the part.
We wait till Duke gets in before we go in, and it's like, these builders are raising hell, and I'm like, there ain't nothing we can do about it.
Well, most of the time, the builder doesn't care about who's going to work around other utilities. That's the story I heard. So that's why they always went in first. Because then they would send a bill to the subdivision developer saying, hey, we would have worked around these deals, took us longer type thing. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah. Well, there's one way to find that. Go ahead and run that gas. And you guys do energy now, so okay.
It's the phone lines that we don't want to go in before we do.
Just charge us up to the builder.
Does Duke still buy their own right of ways in it, or do y'all stay on?
As far as I know, they pretty much stay.
Okay. I know at one time that I was in Winston, and the project manager was like, we bought our right away. So if anybody ever tells you gotta move, they gotta pay for it, every bit. They bought their right away out there.
Wow. So somebody just posed a question online here. It said, who locates the solar farms before it becomes the area that USIC locates? The individual hit the line coming out of the solar farm. It called the number on the sign, but of course they had to leave a message. Now it doesn't specify if it's Duke Energy or not. But do y'all have somebody that is over the solar farms that would locate that till?
All of our feeds coming over here. Usually it's customer owned. Usually that's customer. Solar farm. Build a line up to them,
Yeah.
they'll contract out whoever.
However, the solar farm's feeding your guys. Okay. Well, he said he called a number on here, but yeah. Okay.
I'll be about idea to get them on the.
I don't know. We don't have any solar farms over here. They're mostly toward Lumberton and on out that way east. Oh, there are?
Julian, we got a couple in Church Road and Old Julian.
Okay.
Another one up around Bush Road off of East Chapel. They ain't all, they're not all.
They're not, all right. They're private property.
I would think that, y'all would have your poles right outside the private property.
Yes, correct, yeah.
The hell were they digging inside the solar farm for?
Well, there's an area, but evidently some of the solar farms, and this is from a gentleman out east, close to the coast. Evidently theirs is buried coming out of the solar farms and then goes to the pole. Yep.
That's all.
Okay.
Have is we run into it from last couple of months. I know this is our first time, I know we've been discussed, but on our positive responses. We have to give our crews every morning before they go out to work. Always before 10 in each one. We've got a couple of things in there that might be coming at 999.
Okay.
What does 999 represent? How do we get that resolved? To get a true 10 or 20? Give our commission that everything is hard, ready for us to do.
I'm not an expert wizard.
I didn't locate within the time frame. So automatically generate the 999s.
Okay.
Yep.
3
3 working days are gone.
And then the locators are supposed to contact you, when they can't get it done on time. And, we use a lot of corporate people and emails, and they're supposed to reach out with phone call and email. So,
What locators or company are you having an issue with?
You call it, I think it's past due minute for signing.
Is that, and that's what that's what we keep having to do. Right?
Are they responding within the 3 hours?
I think you can file, what is that?
A notice of violation with the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board.
They continue to.
I can give you the area supervisor for North Carolina, give you his information.
That would be awesome.
You can reach out to him, find out what's
I have
going on.
like zones. Send the locate tickets in and say, hey, look. We have located.
Yeah.
Go on out.
I'll give it to you after we get through this meeting.
any other?
We don't have, I think these like big jobs or anything. Or like big. Downtown, waiting on some here. There on the corner, friendly. Anywhere, it's not that building. Got to be. Put some down. So I got the final go ahead of where the transfer.
Well, small meeting,